Anybody else?
Yeah,
The ladies in green, good evening.
yes, ladies agree. Ellen Dahlgren, I know that charter revision is on the agenda. If we can be heard at that time, that would be our preference, but if you don't want to hear from the public at that time, then we'll have to speak now.
I'd like to hear from you now. I'm kind of excited to tell you the truth.
Okay. I think Lynn's going to start.
Okay, great.
Okay.
This is a tag team effort.
It's a tag team effort, and Mary Jo has a letter. I sent you a letter today by email, and
Yes.
I wanted to be able to read it into the minutes tonight. And I also wanted to let you know that it really is interesting that Bruce, you always come first if we try to do things alphabetically. If I do it by first name or last name, the Bruce comes first. So just want to let you know I had that in mind. Okay, so the letter says, thank you so much for putting a discussion about the charter revision and the petition on the agenda for tonight's meeting. I urge you to heed the voice of more than 1,200 electors in Clinton who signed the petition. They wanted the opportunity to learn, evaluate, and vote themselves on revisions to our charter. Their expectation, and those of the members of the CCRC, is for the questions to be included on the ballot on November 7th, 2017 election. We have prepared some sample questions that might prove helpful to you. I urge you to make the vote happen. Additionally, and this is really important, it will be incredibly helpful to please update the website. Right now, the charter revision proposal is the one from March 21st. It's neither,
This afternoon.
it was done this afternoon. Good. Oh, I'm so grateful.
If you go under the page for charter revision where it says the document.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This morning it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so
I realize that.
Oh, okay,
So I
good.
changed
And in both the proposed and the ones that the selectmen.
No.
Okay.
Just the ones.
Just the final.
Just the final one that you submitted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so we have these, and we have questions for your consideration about wording of how it might look on the ballot about proposals for the charter revision. And Ellen has.
Yeah, I've just worked on this. Basically, since we did spearhead this drive to put these questions onto the ballot,
Let me stop you. Who's we?
we are a registered political campaign committee. We're called this Clinton Charter Reform Coalition. We're registered with the town clerk's office. We're in full compliance with all of the campaign regulations of the state of Connecticut. Now,
It's a political group?
yes, we are formed as a political committee. We filled out form, I have to double check, 14 or something.
Okay, thank you.
But as I say, we filed with the town clerk's office before we initiated the collection of signatures.
Petition.
All right. Since we had spearheaded the drive to put this onto the ballot, I felt it was incumbent on us to take the responsibility of preparing, questions as we'd like to see them. I'd like to share them with you. I've gone through the various versions of the proposed charter revision in really microscopic detail. And as I was doing it, it was just as easy to sort out the questions that the Board of Selectmen did approve as for everything else. So I've gone ahead and written proposed questions that cover the things that you did vote in favor of as well, trying to sort out everything. Here are several copies of that. I can share. I will tell you that this has been vetted by the attorney who was advising the CCRC from the beginning.
Who's that?
His name is Thomas Beecher, and he's with Collins Hannafin of Danbury.
Well,
Now, having said that,
let me stop you.
Okay.
What's the name of the law firm?
Collins Hannafin.
How do you spell it?
Collins is Collins, Hannafin is Hannafin, and they're in Dahlgren. And his name is Beecher, as in Harriet Beecher Stowe. I believe he's a relative. Now, having said that much, realize that we are a grassroots organization. We don't have the resources of the taxing power of the entire town to draw upon in terms of meeting his charges. So if Mr. Bennett needs to get in touch with them, I hope that we can keep the hours that we're getting billed for to the minimum necessary. But as Lynn had said, we would very, very much like to see these questions on the ballot, in November 2017. We realize that it's within, just barely within, the limits of the statute to be able to get it on 2018. We really would like to see it this year, and for that reason, as I said, we've taken the initiative of drafting a starting for a draft to work with in putting the questions together.
Thank you. Anybody else like that?
I'm going to echo what they said. I sent a letter to an email, it was attached to an email. I have a copy for Willie, should I?
Sure.
Yeah, just maybe. Oh, okay.
Just put it down.
Okay, and so it's just to the effect of, says, Dear Mr. Farmer, when I was collecting signatures on the petition to add a question about charter revision to the ballot, the overwhelming majority of signers expected that the question would be on the ballot this fall on November 7th, 2017. Now that those signatures have been validated and the question can be placed with the voters, I am writing to ask that the Board of Selectmen honor the spirit of the petition and move expeditiously to ensure that it will appear on the ballot this year. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
And I will say that as a courtesy, I have shared the draft questions with Mr. Bennett, just as we shared the text of the petition itself with Mr. Bennett before we started collecting signatures.
Would anybody else like to contribute this evening? All right, save one of the best for last relative to the public discussion, and that is discussion on charter revision. Some material was passed out by Ellen, representing the Clinton Charter Reform Coalition, and some of their, I'm sure, worked hard on developing some questions here for consideration, for us to consider using possibly a referendum some point in time relative to the most recent version that the charter presented to us in July of this year.
So question.
And apparently a copy, according to Ellen, went to John Bennett. It had been reviewed by another law firm. And so that's where we are right now.
So question. It's been verified, everything's good, the question was good, petition's good.
Yes.
Let's just put it on the November ballot.
Well, the question now is we have to actually form the question.
I understand that. So to me, this is a lot of work, Ellen, I appreciate this. It can be very simple. You can cull it down to say, shall the town charter be amended for hiring a town manager and any changes within the charter subject to that. Shall the charter be amended to hire a town planner and any changes subject to that, and then all other changes, because all the other stuff is minutia.
Right.
You can have 3 basic questions, you don't need to have
The last
75
revision-
questions.
The last revision we did break it out to there were, I remember, I can't remember what the major changes were, but this, essentially that's what we did.
No, this is, nobody's gonna read this. This is
That's what I'm
like-
saying, that's what we did. We put all of the changes that were, things that, I mean, some of these things are barely, holding two elected positions concurrently might be a big deal for some people.
Well,
But when do we have, the question is, when do we have, what's the date that we have to have the questions formulated for the ballot
Next
in
week.
order for them
it
to?
has to be submitted to the clerk on September 7th in final, completed fashion.
Okay, so we have one meeting left. All right.
Well, it also has to be vetted by town attorney.
Right.
I would remind everybody that there are rules relative to language on these types of questions with respect to readability.
We've done
So
before,
that
where it's been
everybody-
one question, broad stroke, do you accept the recommendation of Charter Revision Commission, and then passed. You didn't have to break it out this far.
I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Not really.
I don't believe
At some point I can be ready.
You spoke.
we spoke earlier.
Okay, I did have material information.
And
You
honestly,
both, I just have a question, you both mentioned that this is going in front of John Bennett. You mentioned it, what was the response?
I don't know, but she said it went before Bennett. I mean, when did that happen?
As a courtesy, I sent it to Mr. Bennett, but obviously he will not do anything until he hears. from
Well, when
the
did you
select-
send
You
it?
had- When did I send it to him?
What
Today.
did you send?
I sent him precisely what I put in front of him.
Okay, and you sent that when?
Today.
Oh, okay.
But as I said, it was
Has
as
he
a courtesy.
responded to you?
He has responded that he has received it, but
Yeah.
he will, obviously do nothing until he hears from the board of selectmen.
I just,
Because what I'm reading right here is very confusing.
way too much.
I mean, if I'm gonna vote on this referendum as,
You'd be in there all day.
yeah,
Particularly in municipal election with all the, you know, Ellen, what I'm talking
I'd
about.
like to address the question you're putting on the table, but I recognize that I was recognized earlier, so I can't answer the question.
Bruce, can Ellen
Do
speak?
this.
Bruce, can Ellen speak regarding what I'm saying?
do you think?
Yes.
He wasn't here when.
Right, okay.
Does somebody have to make a motion?
No,
She can-
no, we're in discussion here.
Basically, I did start with the most detailed version possible, calling out everything and citing every section that has been changed. It is the most detailed version possible. It's my understanding that customarily the sections that are affected are indeed cited in a ballot question, but I cannot find a requirement in state statutes that that be the case. It is obviously easy, it would be straightforward to reword question number 1 much more simply, and I would certainly be willing to
It'd be a long
mark
time
that
to
up.
vote because the 2021-177 would be when the vote would be taking place. With a date.
As far as the multiple questions that are, questions 3 through 14, I did originally have that formulated as one question. I did have some feedback from a member of the public that there was a particular opposition to some sections of it as opposed to others. I broke it out. But again, it's all in Word, and it would be, a half an hour's worth of time to simplify it completely. We simply started by putting the most detailed, the most microscopic version of this possible in front of you. That was the only comment I wanted to make.
Okay, if I could speak for a moment. I'm a little uncomfortable being intimidated into doing something that I don't feel is something that's going to be rushed. I don't think it's right. I would rather we did it correctly, objectively, and fairly for the voters. I think we owe it to the voters to make this as simple for them as it possibly can. I stated in the beginning when I was not in favor of this particular document. And by the way, I have no problem with eventually showing voters a good document, giving them the opportunity to choose whether or not they in fact are interested in the town manager form of governance. I have a problem with this document. I said so, even the Harvard News published my concerns, which were that the document clearly did not delineate responsibilities, authorities, or accountability as to who is doing what. The current document, if you read it to the best of your ability, takes all responsibility away from the entire Board of Selectmen. It eliminates the entire Board of Finance. It takes 12 sets of eyes off the ball in terms of checks and balances. That worries me. When the Charter Revision Commission had their first hearing with the public made it clear that they were not comfortable with a town manager scenario where the town manager literally controlled everything. And this is the best that I can interpret the document. It seems to say that the town manager will write all policy, enforce all policy, approve all contracts, all financial matters, all administration activities, direct all department heads and employees, be responsible for all HR, for all union issues, for all bonding, for all infrastructure. In essence, everything. That worries me that you put that much power in the hands of one individual, and that was not what the people wanted, as I say, when the first hearing was held by the Charter Revision Commission. And again, I'm not comfortable with being intimidated to move that quickly on this. We have to get it right. That's just my opinion. It doesn't represent anybody else.
I'm sorry, I don't have my copy of the last charter revision that we looked at, but my recollection of the last time we discussed this at length was that yes, in the early parts of the charter revision, what you described is written in charter revision, that the town manager has the authority to do those things. And later on in the document, it says that the duties that he performs will be with the approval of the Board of Selectmen. Therefore, giving the Board of Selectmen the ultimate authority over
I don't think it was approval, I think it was more like advice.
well, like
Advice or
but there was
recommendation.
still, but
Quite
the
true.
point is that there's still checks and balances towards the actions of the town manager.
So what we're looking at here, Carol, reverts back to June 20th, their initial submission, which had all of what Bruce just mentioned in the document. Okay?
So is that the mistake
That's
here?
the one we sent back to them.
Okay,
And then when they came back, there was actually a little more leeway, there was
and
more
that was the
Subject
document
to
the
approval
Board of
by-
Finance was.
eliminated from. The Board of Finance was eliminated the second, and when they came back.
So this is in conflict then with, because the June 20th document,
Goes back to the June 20th document.
The June 20th document as voted on by the Charter Revision
Correct.
Commission, which is their final.
but you mentioned eliminating the Board of Finance. That didn't come up till the last one, did it?
It is the last one. The June 20th vote by
Which one was
the
that?
commission
No.
is
June 20th document didn't mention removing the Board of
Right.
Finance. When we sent it back to the Charter Revision Commission, then they came back with elimination of the Board of Finance.
And
Is
took all
the
the
one that-
responsibility away from the rest of the Board of
The
Selectmen.
first one took the responsibility, actually the second revision took gave us a little more.
Mary, it's on the website.
Willie, you're wrong.
It's on the
The
website.
first document took some of the responsibility away from the first select person only, not the board. And I said the person in that position will still have to be paid because they still had half of their job. So I said, turn the first select person into
No,
a
the first document,
figurehead.
you're right, as far as
Yeah.
that. But this reverts back to the first document.
Well, when was the second one?
One is saying
It was after we sent it back to them.
Do we have a date on that?
I don't know, he's right though.
I think it was July 5th when
July
your
5th is
final
when you voted.
recommendation
I
was
believe it was.
voted on.
Yeah.
July
I think the question here is, over 1,200 people
They signed a
signed a
petition.
petition, and I am going to be far from a person after just petitioning to get on a ballot in a week and a half, to say that the work that these guys did to get these people to sign, we should ignore. I think that that is something that the people have spoken about. However, that said, it's our job to make sure that the questions are formulated properly and get on the ballot properly. And I would also just like to say that I have heard, and I'm hoping that those 1,200 people who actually did sign the petition come out to the educational forums to understand what this means. Because,
critical.
and I don't say this lightly at all, but people sign things. I want to make sure that they understand what they're voting on. I have no intention of trying to block this or make this happen in any slow manner, but the questions do need to be formulated in a way that don't confuse people or don't mislead them. I would say things like, while retaining the requirement for budget approval at referendum, you're not going to keep that because it's not a change. That's something that's already in the charter, so I can already pick that out. But I don't see any reason to drag our feet on it. I think that if we can get it to Bennett, and he can review it, and we can agree on questions, then we move as quickly as we can. That's just my
What's our
opinion.
timeline on that?
We have literally until next Thursday. If it can't be done,
Next Friday.
No, next Thursday.
next Thursday, so
The
it's one.
7th.
Okay.
But 1,200 signatures is a lot of signatures. 1,200 signatures is a lot of signatures. I would
Yeah.
agree, I
Yeah.
will still stand with what I have said in the past, that I do not, agree with the document being complete, but I think that we've been promised there's going to be educational forums out there. People are going to have an opportunity to read the documents on the town website. The original charter's there, people can compare. I think we need to work hard over a week and try to get questions formulated that we're all comfortable with. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would like to finish my comments. I was actually quite confused by the document, and I read it several times. And I have a number of friends who are attorneys in other towns that are charter towns. So I asked them to review it. All 5 of them, and I repeat, all 5 of them, said that if they were given the opportunity to vote on that, none of them would vote on it the way the document reads. They used the word, and I quote, folly. It was a dangerous document to give all that responsibility to one individual.
And
And that's 5 independent attorneys.
listen, I'm not going back on any, I'm not flip-flopping on anything I've said in regard to the document itself. But we had a statutory duty to sit at this table as a Board of Selectmen, review the document with, our input and with all of the research that we did, and make a decision based on what we felt was in the best interest of the town. These guys had the statutory right to petition our decision, and they've done that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
And I think we need to do the best job we can to formulate the questions, whether we agree with the document.
Regardless,
Or not.
it's going to go to referendum. They've got the petition, they have the legal behind them to go to
We
referendum.
must formulate
We have to come
questions.
up with questions. You can drag your feet as long as you want.
So it doesn't necessarily, it's for convenience that we're talking about putting it on the November 7th ballot.
Well, it's not
or
convenience,
November ballot.
I think that,
That was the
I mean,
goal.
if we can't meet this time frame, we can still have a referendum.
We can have a special, we can have a special referendum
Correct.
Okay,
at any time.
now, I know we discussed this earlier, and we are probably all in agreement that this is not a perfect document, that there are things we would like further work on. And I believe that you're of the understanding that that can't happen, that this is what we're voting on.
Yeah, vote on the document.
We cannot change the document.
And yet, the Charter Revision Commission has discussed this with attorneys who say that, no, this is not the final document. You can still edit and,
You can
Well,
form a
you
new
know
charter
what?
revision
You can
commission.
amend the charter.
Amend the charter.
You gotta go through all the process.
Next January, we, or whoever is here after the election, can form a new commission. It can have some of the old members on the commission. You can appoint additional
But why-
new members to it and get the document right.
why would they be
Why do
so
we have to
clear
rush?
on the premise that there is room to edit the document?
No, it's been thrown in our laps right now.
No, what has been said is if it doesn't work, then we go, sorry. No, I have heard that said, that you can go back. But you have to form a new, you have to go through the whole statutory process of forming a new commission. Which, by the way, if that doesn't come from the Board of Selectmen, it can be petitioned for from the outside.
And
But
let's
you
go
can't change
this,
it now.
let's go this scenario. We form a new commission in January.
And no
They-
one will want to be on it.
Wait. And they get it to where more people are comfortable with it. And say that board of select persons who is ever on the board at that time says no. They can petition again, and that petition will supersede this petition.
So, no, but the thing is, we have a petition that we have to send to a vote.
Right,
Regardless of feelings around the table, it's gotta go to a referendum
yep,
at some point. I'd rather see it sooner or later,
yep.
you know.
We
The
discussed
goal,
all the questions.
the goal line, way back when this was started, almost 2 years ago, the goal line was November.
Right.
Yeah,
That's how we always backtrack
Right.
the
Back
15
off the
to
dates.
18 months to make sure that we meet the deadline.
Whether there's angst or not, the group went out and got their signatures. Whether we like the document or not, it doesn't matter at this point anymore. It's a matter of what questions we're gonna put on a ballot.
And that's our decision.
That's it. It's gotta be voted on. So kicking the can down the road doesn't serve any purpose at this point.
so are we talking about what that question would be?
Every change that's listed here
Yeah,
has to be voted on.
In some way, shape, or form, it has to be.
Okay.
It
It's
can be
just a
one-
matter of how it's laid out.
Carol, you can put
Okay.
one question on the ballot that says,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
approve the changes made by the Charter Revision Commission as of June 20, 2017? Yes or no? It could be as simple as, just like the bond package. It could be one big, I don't think you want to do that. You probably want to break it out. But what we need to know from John is
How much detail?
how much detail,
Where are you gonna lose people? Basically, you don't get too much.
That's too much stuff already. You go into a municipal election where there's the double-sided ballot already, and you're gonna have all these questions on the top of the ballot as part of it, because those are at the top.
Which is a shame, because you're forcing it in with everything else going on. And
so
this
John
one-
already has it, so he just needs something from this office that says,
From us. It's not from his
From us.
office, from
It's
us.
City can review.
right,
I still say it's 3 questions. The town manager, any changes that occur based on it, hiring a town manager, hiring a planner, and any changes that are based on that, and all others.
well,
The only
it's
thing
the
I see,
confusion.
the only thing I see in the all others is to prohibit individual holding to elected positions that could be controversial, but you know what, I don't mind that.
well, wait a minute. The question number 2, where you said about hiring a town planner, that is a recommendation on the part of this commit, that,
Shall the town
Committee.
charter be amended?
right,
That's
That wasn't part of what, I don't believe that
Yes,
this
it was.
Yes, it is.
our,
That's part of the petition.
our
Doesn't matter.
final
It doesn't
decision.
matter what we decide.
Well,
Doesn't matter what we decide.
please, let me finish, okay? Just be quiet for a
Pay
second.
attention.
My understanding is that we left the word may in
They
when we
changed it back.
finalized the charter. No, they had changed it to will or shall.
Shall.
And we, at one point, agreed with that, and then we went back to the
This is
may.
all about the petition.
State petition.
I know,
So we
I
can't change it.
understand that. What I'm saying is, this question, I would not want going
This,
forward.
the
because
only
we
question this is shall the town charter be amended to state, it just would be shall in the place of may.
Yeah,
This
I
question's
understand
probably
that,
not
I understand
formulated.
that. And that, but this is a question that is not part of amending. This
Sure.
is, no, because we left it at may, we did not leave it at
And
shall.
then reverted back to what they
They reverted back to
proposed, which was shall.
With the
This is
petition.
their,
The petition.
this is their document.
Ours is gone.
Ours
Ours is gone. What we wanted to do was
It
gone.
was, their vote, ours is what the petition was about.
Their petition said, the
Shall.
town shall hire town, how,
No, their petition
Oh.
said all change, our final report, June 20th, 2017.
So whatever that said
Whatever
on
we
it.
did
which
after
said,
that.
I believe it
Shall.
said
No,
may.
it
No,
said
it said
shall.
shall.
Said shall.
Yeah. It definitely
Said
did.
shall.
They went back to it.
This is the original.
This much I know.
And this is why John Bennett needs to
But,
just make sure.
okay,
that-
I'm questioning why that even would have to appear there too, because we do have a town planner.
Full-time.
No, we don't have a town planner.
We do
Never
have a
consulted.
town,
We
we
have a consultant.
employ a town planner. We're spending $48,000 a year on a town planner.
Because
This
even-
does not say the words a full-time town
Look
planner.
at this section in the charter that it refers
But
to.
Carol, the difference between shall and may is huge.
I know it is, I know it
That's why
is,
it
and
needs to
I
be here.
thought, okay, never mind, forget it, all right, I'm done. I'm good.
I mean, you're talking about spending $150,000 a year plus benefits versus not. You may and shall, it has to be on, it has, the question has
I
to be.
understand.
So,
So it needs to go to Bennett.
I would recommend 3 questions. That's money.
Well, we have to. hammer it
Here's
out.
the confusion though. If question 1 fails, then some of the additional questions that would not be broken out, because you have, if 1 fails, then you approve this.
You can't.
That's what's gonna happen, because if
Well,
question 1 fails.
What does the town manager affect in part B? Nothing.
For question 2, you mean, and then.
No, for question 2 even, nothing.
But you-
Because it reverts back to the first selectman.
Yeah, but like
Selectman
question
style.
4, you're talking about adding the members of the Board of Finance. If you're
That's
eliminating
not-
the Board of Finance and question 1 fails, then you have
Yeah,
to then vote.
then
on
the Board of
next
Finance is
question.
still there.
I understand that, but you still have to then have people amend or ask.
No. You can eliminate somebody from the Board of Finance. That's a separate issue. Elimination of the Board of Finance in total is if the town manager is approved. The structure of the Board of Finance can be changed by the rest of the document without the town manager being involved. And that's
So
what,
if question 4 is approved, just for argument's sake, question 4 is approved,
One
but
is-
question 1 fails,
Mhm.
Correct.
That's not a big deal.
or no, wait, go the other way.
Go the other way.
If
yeah.
question
Go the
1
other way.
passes and
Yep.
question 4 passes, then what are you doing?
Correct.
there is no Board of
There's no Board of
Finance.
Finance.
There is no Board of Finance, because if question 1 passes the way it should be worded, and any other changes within the charter related to the hiring of a town manager, then question 4 is a moot point.
Right.
It's gone.
This is way better.
Right.
You're thinking like an attorney now. I hate attorneys, you know it.
And some people will
Sorry, I just
also,
don't want to confuse people.
some
Think-
people
think
will,
Common sense.
some
Attorneys don't
people,
think common sense.
some people will also say that if you look at question 2, you know, it's like you're taking choices per item away from people.
I don't agree with people who hold 2 elected positions, I never have. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that was America.
No, that's not, to me, that's not a,
All right, well, I think it needs to go to John, and I do agree that we need to make it I don't want to say as simple as possible, because sometimes simple as possible,
Gets you
Nobody
in trouble.
reads. Nobody reads.
But it also could be wrong.
When we don't overlook anything.
but I also want people to actually vote.
Well, we want people to understand what they're voting on, that's the more important thing.
Well, that's going to come in with the educational, and that's, you know,
Let's hope
I want to see
people show up.
1,200 people at,
Can we ask John to come up with 3, maybe 4 questions instead of 17?
No, we have to produce the question.
Well, I think we
And
should
then
go
he
3
has to
questions.
redo it.
I threw them out already. I'll make a motion to approve 3 questions for the referendum.
You're gonna leave them out?
1 will be, shall the charter be changed to provide for a town manager? And make adjustments for any other changes as approved by the Charter Revision Commission throughout the charter. 2, shall the town charter be amended to hire a town planner and make any other changes as needed to provide for that position. And 3, shall the charter be amended to allow for any other changes provided by the Charter Revision Commission, and it should all be dated June 20, 2017. As a recommendation to 20, 2017.
I'll say.
He can stroke it, coddle it, massage it, whatever he wants, but that's the basic.
And we can still have another regular meeting, and we can also have another special meeting.
Right.
Next week's a short week.
Yeah, that was later anyway.
all right, John, second.
Any further discussion?
I think that's a good approach.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.